Hello, everybody.
We're going to give people a couple more minutes with the time change. And also, there were people registering literally like a few seconds ago.
I did a little Facebook Live. You probably saw it.
Yeah, I did. I saw it. That's awesome.
Let's not be backlit. Ah, better. Good morning, everybody, or whatever it is for you. For some people, it's afternoon.
All right. Yeah. And let us know where you're calling from. There's people from all over the world registered for the call. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, you can use the chat.
Okay. Yeah. This keeps rolling in right now, Kathy.
Really? People are still registering. So thank you guys for being here on already. What do you call it? Prompt. Prompt is nice.
Yeah.
Give
Yeah. Humanoids, man. Be waiting till the last minute. I love it though. We've got a lot of
during the
different folk.
call.
Yeah. It'll probably still keep showing up during the call, but
It's hilarious. Like at 10:59, at least 3 people registered. Huh? All right, I'm gonna give my phone to my son and let him enjoy it. Hey, Bud, here's the phone. Okay. Quiet. All right. Good morning, everybody. Afternoon, whatever it may be for you. I'm in the sunny Midwest, and the weather is fabulous. I'm enjoying this.
yeah, it's really nice here as well. And I'm in Hilton Head, South Carolina.
Oh, I'm going to be there really soon.
Yep, in a couple weeks. It's kind of crazy how time has flown by.
Yeah, less than 20 days. In 2 weeks. Wow. Wow. Going there to facilitate bars and the foundation. And your sunny, awesome place.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
I think we both got the memo to wear the same color.
Good, you got it. Good.
You just wanted to match your hair.
I realized after dyeing my hair, that like I have a lot in my wardrobe with colors in the greens and blues. So everything seems to look like I'm matching my hair, but I already had that in my wardrobe.
Okay. That would work for me too. That's
This color?
one of the primary things I wear. And people even give me stuff in that color range because they're like, I noticed you wear this color. So I get like,
It keeps adding to it, yeah.
and stuff like that. Yep.
Okay.
Shall we get started?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I think that'd be good. And
All
then people
right.
keep coming in.
And for those of you who are not visible, who are invisible, feel free to post in the chat. And if you're on the phone, feel free to just speak up. Or if you're, invisible.
Oh, the recording already started. Did you start that?
No. Oh, yeah, I did. Oops.
Oh, okay. Hi.
You can record too, yes?
Yeah, I think I'll receive the recording that you prompted. It'll just go to both places. So it's all good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Welcome, everybody. What's the name of this? What has competition created in your life?
Yes, you got it. Yes. So many creations. It's like, what's this one called? Oh.
So today it is Siris and Kathy and all of you. So Siris, you want to say something about yourself?
Just hi. I'm super excited about this call. This is a topic that that Kathy and I have been talking about, and through a lot of acknowledgments about how we uniquely create together and individually for over a year.
Wow.
It's been maybe even almost 2 years. And so when we considered what topic to discuss today, a couple of weeks ago, we're like, let's do this. This sounds like really fun. We've already been having this discussion in different ways, and we just have a lot more examples now that we've been creating with other people and creating even more in, with the different businesses that we play with. And so really excited to hear what y'all would like to talk about with this topic, because this is one of those things that it can be pervasive in any area of your life. So that's just my little spiel. I'm really geeked out. And then Kathy, you're where right now?
Where? I'm just south of Chicago.
Okay, so you're not in London anymore, because the last time I spoke with you, you were either in London or in Thailand or traveling a bunch. That's usually me. I'm taking a break.
I was in Thailand. When we did a face-to-face thing. And, in London, when we were just Zooming, I just did a foundation class there that was just so peaceful and spacious. So let's bring some of that energy in here.
That would be great. It's not that we're ever competing with ourselves and with that idea of peace and calm. Like, it's almost like we resist it and fight a peace and calm. That definitely was my existence for most of my life. I was constantly going and going and going, and really didn't give myself permission to have a peace and calm.
How much does that prove that you have value, and prove that you're working hard enough, and prove, there's so much proving in efforting
Yes.
that's not present in the spaciousness of peace and calm.
And that's still something I'm letting go of. Absolutely.
And just for those of you who may not know, Siris and I are both Access Consciousness certified facilitators, which means we use these practical tools that sometimes also sound a little crazy, but they're really effective in creating change. So we're probably going to use the clearing statement here and there. And it's just like a magic wand to bring up the energies of whatever limitation we're referring to, and then clear them out of existence. And the clearing statement is often really useful when you use it more than once. So if there's some area of your life that we touch upon that you kind of have a lot of charge or stickiness or stuckness in, you may like to play this recording more than once, and especially even as you sleep, because it will just clear the layers of whatever's going on. Mm-hmm. And create a different possibility. So.
And there's some people that registered that are Spanish speaking, but they know quite a bit of English. So if at any point you need us to translate, I can translate and clarify things in Spanish, or you can kind of give me a message, send me a message privately afterwards and be like, hey, what's going on with that? So when Kathy and I facilitate, there's sometimes some people that will be Spanish speaking, including in her upcoming foundation class here in Hilton Head. And so me and Sulma, who's also on here, are available for translation during that call and during those classes. And so feel free, don't hesitate to chime in the chat or message me if you need something translated, and we'll totally do that.
Cool. Thank you. Yes, and including if you're an English speaker and you need
yes. So true, because sometimes when we ask these questions and we're discussing these topics, we can almost not even hear it because it's so deep how much we've hidden away some of these points of views about whatever we're bringing up. That's definitely the case where I've had facilitators ask me a question and I'm literally like, what was that? Like, and I have to ask them to say it again or say it in a different way for me to even process it. Cause it was just it's so non-cognitive where we often stick ourselves around these topics, including competition. One of the things that we brought up that people asked for more examples of, Kathy, in our last Facebook Live was how competition can show up in families. But it looks like we already have a question. So let's actually go there first.
Hello. So I'm going to see if I can tap into letting you. Yeah. So if you have your hand raised, I'm going to lower your hand. And hello. How do you pronounce your name? Dushanka? Is that how you pronounce it?
I don't hear anything.
I don't hear you either, but you look unmuted.
Yeah. Maybe put the message or the question in the chat, Dushanka, if you have something there.
And we can always come back to it too if it's just not working right now. Oh, there we see you now. Hello.
It's maybe like peekaboo.
Headphones? Maybe we can. I'm not sure.
Okay. So yeah, some people were bringing up some questions about how competition can show up in families. Like definitely for me, there's been a lot. Like my dad used to compete with me and always continues to compare himself. And it can be even as subtle as that. When there's ever a comparison, whenever you compare yourself to someone else, you're functioning from competition. And it starts there, and then it can start getting, so it's more and more where you start then judging yourself or them or both.
And then this includes positive ways.
Yes.
You know, oh, so-and-so does this well, but I do it better.
Yeah, they're so smart and creative. And I'm creating too, right? Like, what am I creating?
You know what? And it's so interesting because I was listening to Peter Thiel. And if you guys don't know who he is the founder of PayPal. Okay. And if he had been competing, he would have said, okay, how can I take what others are doing and do it better? And instead he's like, what could I create that would just, create a totally different playing field than anyone ever has been on? And look what he created. And it's brilliant. It's in our transactions all the time. Yeah. So what can you create that nobody's ever created? Like, what's possible for you? What can you choose that no one else can choose? Mm-hmm. Am I speaking too fast for people who don't speak English? I just thought of that, like, okay, maybe slow it down.
Yeah, they'll let us know.
Each of our, we're each so unique. We have so many unique capacities and experiences that we can thread in and create something that nobody's ever created before. And I mean, if we have that attitude as opposed to, how can I do what someone else is doing? Right? Mm-hmm. And make them, and when we're doing that, we're making them the valuable thing.
We're making them greater. And so then we'll never even outcreate or go beyond them because we've already made them like the limit, the ceiling of how much we can create. And it's like, what if when you're looking at what you know that maybe nobody else knows, or what you could create that maybe nobody else would consider even creating, then you can actually like have something show up that blows everybody's socks off, that would just blow this reality socks off.
Blowing my socks off. I didn't wear socks today. Hi, guys.
Hello. Okay, it works now. Good.
Thank you. Yeah, it's the first time I'm using Zoom.
Cool.
So thank you for inviting me. As you all know, I am a professional bodybuilder. I'm with the Canadian Bodybuilding Federation as well as the International Federation of Bodybuilding. I'm second in Ontario right now, and I'm preparing myself to hit the stage on August 4th. And competition, everybody is always asking, oh, so you compete? And I'm like, no, I work hard and I show up.
Cool.
So there's other things that I'm creating too. And thank you for bringing the awareness to the subject. I noticed today we can also choose to ask, who is competing with us? Never considered that question. And then what clearings can we choose to clear that out of the way?
Yeah. Yeah. And when someone else is competing with us, it's not necessarily clearable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, we can go beyond it and make it, meaningless.
Yeah.
Right?
There are choices.
Yes.
It doesn't have anything to do with us. Like, take us out of the scenario, put someone else right in it, they're going to compete too. So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At work, I have
dad. As soon as I stopped even resisting and competing, I just acknowledged that he was competing with me. Mm-hmm. And as a teenager, when it hit me, it was like, really? Like, you would compete with me? And it was this twisted compliment, like, oh, he obviously sees some value in me, and I'm a badass. Great. And also, like, I have other things to do. Like, I want a life to live. I don't want to be like arguing and resisting with you. And so as soon as I stopped, our whole dynamic changed. And he also, there was a lot less like overt competition. There was a lot less aggressive, really in your face stuff. And so it created a lot of space in our dynamic. And I wonder if when we don't go into the competition with people and we just acknowledge it and say, that's what they're choosing. Now what would I like to create? What would I like to choose? How much more space you would have, and how many to have those ideas and to just live your life and have way more fun.
Yes.
There's something you were going to bring up, Dashanka, right?
Yes. At work, I have a female who, after I took the foundation with Matthew Boxler and I co-created and hosted with him, I came back to, okay, that's too much speed. I got to be able to speak and walk at the same time. Oh, 1 second, girls. This is not easy. Okay. So I came back to work, and a female whom was always saying, oh, I love your body, or I love your clothes. Oh my God, I'm so jealous. You're so fit. And I came back to work. She won't even acknowledge me. She won't say hello. She stares at me. She projects at me. Very unkind. And I got really, really quiet for about a week until I said, I can't do this anymore. I have to lower this. I can no longer make myself small and allow her to just like make me this big at work instead of being the kind presence that I normally be with people that come in. You're in a public environment, you have to be smiling. The best thing you can do is be yourself, and people appreciate that. So I just said to myself, no way, I can't do this anymore. It felt like self-abuse. I didn't realize that possibly maybe she's competing with me, and I'm unaware of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I
now,
just say hi to her.
So truth, is she competing with you?
She is competing for her position as a full-timer at this retail job.
And possibly more than that.
Possibly more than that.
Okay. So anything that doesn't allow any of us to have total clarity on who is competing with us with no point of view, with total allowance, will you destroy and uncreate all of that times a godzillion?
Yes!
Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys and mans. I think we might have lost Kathy.
Oh, maybe she's coming back.
There she is. So that was the clearing statement of access consciousness that Kathy brought up. Kathy, we were just asking anything that doesn't allow us to recognize, to receive who is competing with us with total allowance. We destroyed and uncreated all of that. And so we can do that again. Are you back, Kathy?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Hi. Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And just like what Kathy was saying earlier, it's just knowing, acknowledging that person is doing it, and then living your life. One of the things you brought up, though, is that you felt like you had to keep putting a smile on your face no matter what she was saying and doing to you, and that was what was required. And there was a little bit of a wonkiness there. So when you're being an allowance, when you're having no point of view, that doesn't mean you're a doormat.
Oh.
That doesn't mean that somebody gets to abuse you. That doesn't mean that someone gets to walk all over you.
Yeah, think of allowance as non-judgment.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to judge someone in order to say, hey, this doesn't work for me.
How do I approach her and say, hey, this doesn't work for me? Just like that?
So what I usually ask is, what's going to create the greatest possibilities here? And what can this person hear, right? What can they receive? And how can I say what you know, they can say, and that is also going to create greater possibilities for both of us, right?
Sure.
It's not just great possibilities for me, it's for everybody.
True.
And then you'll have that awareness, because no one can tell you what that is.
Oh.
And just to piggyback off of that, someday you'll get the awareness that not saying anything is what's actually going to create the greatest possibility for you and them in the world. And that's still a practice for me, because I always want to say something. My mom can tell you.
I haven't been saying anything. I've just been like quiet and smile.
Yeah. And what's that creating?
It's creating more space for me, actually, instead of resisting and reacting to people and giving them what they actually want is a little bit of a this.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that. I just made a choice. It was like after foundation, it was a little stressful having someone show up in class exposing her vagina, and after that being very angry. I was like, okay, you know what? That's it. I'm done with this fighting shit. I don't need it anymore. I don't want it anymore. It's too much energy is being taken away from me. Wow, this is hard, and I'm doing a low speed. Sorry. Wow.
Well, and
talk and exercise. Try that. It's awesome. I'm sweating like crazy.
Having, you know, the tools of foundation, like just think of what energy flow is required here.
Yeah.
Like what energy flow can I be that's going to create a different possibility?
Ease. Walk in, be you, be ease, and let them be what they choose.
Cool.
Yeah. And if they're being really evil, I just walk away. I don't have it in me anymore to interact with that.
It's just a choice, honey. It's just a choice.
Because if I do, I think at this point, it's like I'm almost at that edge of I'm going to walk out from my job. It's too much.
And what is too much for an infinite being?
Mm-hmm.
What is too much for me? The repetition of insane.
No, that's not what. Wait. That's not what Kathy asked.
Oh, what did she ask?
What is too much for an infinite being? So everything you've defined as too much for you, this is for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Will you destroy and uncreate that times a godzillion?
Okay. Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pot of a puck, all nine shorts.
Good, bad, right, wrong,
I'm your
pot,
pod pucker, Kathy.
Yay! Okay, so we had a couple pod puckers. Yeah, because when we decided something is too much, we're actually condensing ourselves down, and including when we've decided something is overwhelming, or I'm overwhelmed, we've actually condensed ourselves down from the spaciousness and expansion we truly be.
Oh.
So one of the questions I often ask is, how much space would I have to occupy to change this?
Oh my goodness. Oh, wow.
I even have that in my phone as a reminder. So
I have to write this down.
At least
how much space do I have to occupy to change this?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yay!
How much space do I have to occupy in order to change all of this with ease, joy, and glory?
Yeah.
Anything doesn't allow that, girls. Good, bad, right, wrong, puff and pot, all nine shows.
That changes so much for me. I use it
on
a daily basis. Yeah.
Okay. We can do this. It's so hard, but it's fun. Climb that mountain of treadmill. I'm coming for you.
All right. So how is that? Can we leave?
Lighter.
Is there anything else with this right now?
I feel more ease.
Cool. And feel free to pop back in if you have another question.
Thank you.
Thank you. Aloha. So you were going to talk a little bit, Siris. Well, and one of the things I wanted to go into a little bit before we go to family is...
If that's even required, we'll see.
Something you brought up earlier, which is, you know, when you were mentioning I'm a badass, right? Like when someone's doing competition with us, they actually recognize that we're doing or being something of value, something that's really cool, something that they admire. So would you first be willing to acknowledge that instead of just going into the upset or annoyance or, oh gosh, they shouldn't be doing this? Like, oh, cool. They see that I'm doing or being something of value. What is that? Wow, would I be willing to recognize that in me? Because so often we don't. So often we won't. Would you be willing to recognize whatever they're admiring, whatever they're desiring in you? And so everything that doesn't allow you to recognize that and acknowledge it, will you destroy and uncreate it, please?
Yes. Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Because a lot of times we'll go into immediately starting to shut it down or changing whatever we're being and doing so that that person won't compete with us anymore. And that's not really possible. They'll just find something else to compete with you about. Because they're already recognizing that you're awesome. They're already recognizing that there's a value in you. Even if you keep trying to shut it down, or cut your awareness off to it, it's still there. You're still you under all that layers of stuff that you try to hide, even from you. And they'll just find something else to compete with, just like with judgment, because competition is another form of judgment. You'll be like, oh, I'm going to change this behavior so that they don't judge me. Oh, well, they'll just judge me about this instead, about what I wear instead of judging me about what I was saying. Or they'll judge me about my family. They'll judge me about my job. They'll just find something else. So what Kathy and I are inviting you to is to not change you for anything or anyone, but to acknowledge the beauty, the gift that you are to the world. Okay? And that's kind of this reverse invitation that when someone is competing with you it's that invitation for you to actually acknowledge another piece of you that you may not have acknowledged before. So what could we acknowledge that is a gift in us that we haven't acknowledged before? That these interesting people with their interesting points of views competing with us are inviting us to. Anything that doesn't allow you to be, know, perceive, and receive that, will you destroy and uncreate all of that times a godzillion?
Yes. Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. You know, I grew up and I was in ballet. And even though ballet isn't necessarily like a competitive sport, there's a lot of competition in there, right? Competition for roles. And we don't even label it competition, but it was present. And for me, you know, I remember very clearly saying as a young person, you know, I'd rather have the friends than the roles, because I was aware that certain relationships would drop away if I was willing to be the greatness and you know, dance as well as I could. Okay? So how much have any of us cut ourselves off from our true capacities because we knew there was a competitive atmosphere around us and we didn't want to lose people? So everything that is, will you destroy and uncreate it times a godzillion?
Yes. Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys and beyond.
Yeah, and who or what?
Wow.
This is a big one. Like, I know we don't always talk about it in Access Consciousness, but it has been talked about a lot, is who or what are you unwilling to lose?
Yeah.
And that can keep you from having and being all of you and your true capacities. The unwillingness to lose someone or something. So just reflect on that, and you might get a sense, you might have some names come to mind, but who or what are you unwilling to lose in order to have all of you?
Mm-hmm.
And everything that is, will you destroy and uncreate it all?
Yes. Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Wow, Kathy, you know, it's the what actually seemed to have more charge today for me. And there's some examples, like, you know, what are some examples of the what when we talk about what we're willing to lose or not and who we're willing to lose? It seems like it's the who has been discussed more. Like it could be family members and significant or enjoyable others, you know, coworkers and friends. But the what, you know, one of the things that it reminds me of is when I, for the longest, was not willing to lose my job in the Chicago public schools.
Yeah.
I had defined myself as a speech and language therapist and pathologist in the schools. And that's what was my life's purpose and mission. I was going to help all of the kids through working in the Chicago public schools. And it had to be, you know, really tough cases with neglect and abuse and all these different things and chromosomal disorders. And the harder the case, the more it proved that I was being what I had defined myself as.
Yeah. So, and so many of those things are the definitions around us that we're unwilling to lose. My title, my, you know, what I've accomplished, all of that. Yeah.
Ooh, great examples there. Yeah. Our reputation and distractor implants too, that we're maybe not willing to lose.
Yeah. So also my job, my role, my home, my money, my, you know, family, my, what else? So many different things. And what have we decided is so necessary that's actually keeping us like contained and almost bound by it.
It's like shackles. Yeah, that's super heavy. Wow. Wow.
So everything that is, will you destroy and uncreate it times the godzillion?
Yes. Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds.
And if you jumped in late, feel free to speak up and ask your questions. They're all welcome, and you can even type them in the chat if you prefer. Oh dear, that's scary. Oh, you don't want to let go of your importance. Yeah.
Yeah, one of our really good friends is a doctor, and he's come to some Access Bars classes and he went to the foundation class with the founders of Access Consciousness, Dr. Dane here and Gary Douglas in Houston that they had recently in April. And they're doing a lot of discussions around this, around definitions, how we define ourselves. And he was willing, he's like, I'm willing to lose everything except the definition of being a doctor. That's super important to me. And it's like, we're like, okay, you know, my mom and I were like, oh, an allowance of that. We were talking to him about it. And one of the things we recognize is that because he was defining himself as that, and it's actually shifted since this discussion. And part of that I get is because we were in allowance and we didn't like argue with him about it. But at this point, we perceived that him defining himself in this way and really holding on, you know, tight fisting this definition of being a doctor wasn't allowing him to receive from his patients or other people. He was wanting to give and give to his patients, to him being the expert and having all the answers. And so, and when his patients wanted to gift him sessions, for instance, of Access Bars, or, you know, advise him on anything, give him ideas, there was a lot of resistance there because that conflicted with his definition of who he was as a doctor. Like I said, it's shifted since then, and he's actually more willing to receive from other people. And how does it get any better than that? One of the things that reminded me of when I had the discussion with him was, wow, well, where else am I tight fisting all of these identities so that I can't receive from anybody else,
Mm.
from anyone else. Pick anyone, you know, like it could be my own clients and that I've had, it could be family members and things like that. And when we do that, when we are holding on to these definitions and identities, whatever they may be it cultural identities, I'm a Latina and I'm a speech language pathologist, I'm a facilitator, I'm a world traveler. It can be even the positive, like Kathy was saying. Those are all judgments. I'm a good daughter, I'm a woman. All of these, they can blind us to everything that we are, because we're that and so much more.
So much more. So one of the things we talk about in Access is outcreating.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and outcreating is creating beyond what you've created before. You know, it means creating something even greater. And that's not a cognitive thing, right? And if we don't make it cognitive, we can allow something that's greater than our logical, defined mind to show up. All right. I mean, the only person you can truly compete with is you.
Yeah, go figure.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's true. And so one question you can ask is, what would it take to outcreate myself today? Okay. What would it take to be greater than I was yesterday? And that's a question I ask every day, because why not, right? To be greater than I was yesterday. I certainly don't want to be the same as I was yesterday. So when you're asking to outcreate, you are asking for something even greater to show up and expanding your life in that way. Okay? So you're not competing with yourself, you're asking for more of yourself. And you can ask it to actualize with total ease. Okay? In a way that has no force or efforting or even cognitive thought or definitions.
As soon as y'all are defining what outcreating yourself will look like and be like, will you please let all of that go? Because it probably looks completely different than what you've already defined and considered before.
Yay!
I did. I had all kinds of definitions about what outcreating would be like and look like. And Kathy really helped me shift that.
Oh, I did? Oh.
You did. A little bit over a year ago. I clearly remember the moment.
I have a question.
Yes.
Because in the last months, I have created so much, and it's so huge, and it's so awesome. And Kathy, I got orders for 60,000 euros, and I had 12 shops they want me to work in and do the feng shui.
Wow.
And I traveled to Dubai. I traveled twice this year to Assisi, and everything is huge, and there is piling up a lot aside and behind. And sometimes I'm afraid that I'm maybe just too crazy, that I'm becoming too crazy, and then I mess up because I can't stop myself creating, and people think that they need to stop me.
So whose point of view is it that you're too crazy? Is that your point of view?
Of course.
So everything that is, will you destroy and create it all and return the rest to sender?
Yes. Yeah.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. And so everywhere you've defined or decided that any of this is a problem, will you destroy and uncreate it times the godzillion?
Yeah. Oh. Yes.
Right,
wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds.
And are you a really good problem solver?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so how much do you create problems so you actually have something to
You go away.
and I'm sure you're the only one on this call who does that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everywhere we all do that, or any of us do that, and everywhere we've made being a problem solver the valuable thing, will you destroy it and create that times a gazillion?
Yes.
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds.
We are really cute. That's probably not our best choice, though.
Thank you. This was really, really helpful. And yeah, great.
I'm
This
so
was
glad,
really...
Sylvia. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, where's my time?
Thank you.
Yeah, we have so much creative capacity. How much of that creative capacity actually goes into creating problems instead of into out-creating anything we've ever created before?
Wow.
And everything that is times a gazillion, will you destroy and then create it all?
Yes.
Ooh.
Right, wrong,
Thinking
good, bad,
along that
pod,
one.
poc, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. Wow, y'all are really using a lot of your energy against you. So how much are you competing with the infinite possibilities of you? Wow. It's like a sock in the jaw. Everything that is. Will you please destroy and uncreate all of that?
Yes.
Right, wrong,
good, bad, boys and beyond. Yes.
Thanks, Kathy.
What a thing.
Oh, wow.
I'm just writing this, clearing in the chat.
Thank you.
So how much of our creative capacities are we using to create problems instead of out-creating anything we've ever created before?
Mm-hmm.
And everything that is times a godzillion, will you destroy and then create it all?
Yes. Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. Wow, that just got deeper.
Yeah. So let's do it once more.
Yes, please.
How much of your creative capacity is going into creating problems instead of out creating anything you've ever created before? And everything that is, you destroy and then create it all.
Yeah. Yes. Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds.
And if you ask to out create what you are capable of, or also like when you are getting the sense like, oh, that person's creating something cool and I wish I could do that, right? Because we go there sometimes. Or if you ask to out-create what they're doing and being, you may see what you're capable of that you've never created before. Because again, we talked about you have different capacities, right, than that person has. So you're gonna, even if you were creating the same thing, you would create it differently and you would attract different people to it. Let's say Siris and I are creating the same class, right? A bars class or a foundation class on the same weekend in the same city. The really interesting thing is our energies are different. So different people would be attracted to each of our classes. And some of them might not even see the other person's classes. And the really interesting thing is I look at, there are 7 billion people plus on this planet. Do I want 7 billion people in my class? There are some people I definitely am not interested in doing, you know? So, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm happy to send them to your class. No, I'm just kidding.
Thanks, Gabby.
You can have them and their money too. You know what I mean? So it's like some people resonate with certain people and not with others, and that's totally okay. What if that's not wrong at all? Like, there are some people who probably are not interested in my classes, and that's fine. I don't need them to show up, right? I would prefer they don't show up if they don't really resonate with me, right? It creates more for all of us if they choose the person they resonate with.
Absolutely.
Yeah, on the planet. Like, I view the planet as a we, right? It's a we. So it's not just, hey, come to my class, I need your money, right? Or I need you in my class to prove that I'm a valuable facilitator, right? So anywhere any of us have that kind of energy, can we just return it to sender? Is that really yours? And everywhere you've bought it as yours and are making it yours and you think it's yours, will you destroy and uncreate that times the godzillion?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, POD, POC, all names, shorts, boys, and beyonds.
Yeah, and then the other piece too is sometimes they'll choose one, the other, or both.
Yeah, totally true.
It's not about, like, some people want all of it, like, and you can have all of it and choose all of it. And that definitely happened because Kathy and I both were facilitating classes in San Diego. And there were people that went to her class, went to mine, and some people went to both. And we totally had each other's backs, and we're like, hey, this person's interested in class. They can't make it on my date. Maybe they'll make it on yours, or the other way around. But when you're willing to have that space of not needing and that sense of desperation that'll turn everybody off anyway, then a lot more can show up. It's really cool.
Yeah, and with someone, it's really fun too to just ask. Whoops, I keep, instead of switching the video, which is not automatically switching, but yeah, anyway. When someone is competing with me or doing something like putting their class on the same dates or whatever, I'll just be like, what would it take for that person to make me massive amounts of money? I don't have to know where it's going to come from, but I've asked for it. So what would it take for them to make me money? And that doesn't have to be linear at all. But I've just put the question into the universe. Hey, universe, what would it take for them to make me massive amounts of money? And it might be, someone sees their class and it's not in the right location for them, and then they're interested and want to find out more, and then they see me. Or it could be something totally random, and I don't have to know how it's going to show up. But it's kind of a fun question to play with.
Absolutely, I like that one. Sulma, you had a question?
Well, I have a comment. You had a call and I made the same comment. Aside from access, I went to a different training. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
You're really faint. That's gonna be better.
Better?
Yeah, much better.
Okay, outside of access, I went to a different training, and it was for doctors and nurses. And this is a specialty, training. And the doctor that was doing that training, he said, interesting, the more people that we have in California doing this procedure, the more money they're making.
Yeah.
And that's the states that we have, the cities that we have the less doctors doing this, they don't have as many clients, many patients like they have in California, where they have tons of doctors doing this. They are back to back. They are packed with clients and patients. So I'm like, hey, so there's, even if there's lots of people doing it,
yeah,
they have more. And this is like this kind of energy that people know more about what it is.
Exactly.
If there's more advertisements about the same thing, that they can go to the one closer to me or to this one. And the price is the same, by the way. They cannot change the price. But I said, access. So the price for for those procedures is the same, and they cannot make deals either. They don't allow them to go to Groupon or anything. So I was like, whoa, and they're making money. So what would it take for us to do that?
Thank you for bringing that into this conversation, because it's so true. People think, oh, now that there are 10 of us in our town, it's going to be harder. And in fact, it can be easier because the awareness has expanded about it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so thank you for bringing that in.
Where all can be contributing that generative energy so that there's more possibilities that are showing up, more interests. And yeah, the other thing too is that sometimes I've been finding, we really changed the dynamic of the Chicagoland area as well, because we kept facilitating all these classes when Sulma and I used to live there. And there's way more bars facilitators now, and there's way more classes being offered now than when we were living there, when we was just like 3 of us that were hosting classes. And now there's like 15 or something. And it's amazing. And people are coming in from out of town and things like that. I think, Kathy, you're going to be facilitating a class there shortly and in Wisconsin and things.
Yeah, starting Monday. I mean,
yeah.
And then
the foundation.
Yeah.
All of that is one of those things. I had a colleague recently tell me that they stopped being a facilitator as soon as they moved from one town to the other, because there were more facilitators in the new town, and they were like, oh, I don't want to step on anyone's toes. I don't want to compete with them. And so they stopped doing something that they're amazing at that could have been a source of income and revenue for them, because they were like, I don't want to, I like this whole sense of like possessiveness that she was perceiving in the new town. I was like, well, what if that was just an interesting point of view?
Yeah. So anywhere any of us allow that to stop us, I don't want to step on anyone's toes, or they're doing it
so well. I've experienced that a lot, because I was brought up with, you have to take regard, you have to be careful not to offend people, and so I'm still. I mean, also in other countries,
Oh, we lost you. Yeah, it was.
I'm sorry. Yeah, so I'm afraid that I might make a mistake, and that this goes back to me then. So.
Yeah, anywhere any of us have made that real and true, that we could offend someone or step on their toes or make them upset with us. Like, really, that's on them. Isn't it so interesting? Like they can only be offended if they choose to be offended, right? It's never about you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so everywhere, all of us have limited ourselves and made it our responsibility that they be okay. Will you destroy and uncreate that times the godzillion?
Yes. Yeah.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pop.
All 9 shorts, boys, and beyonds.
And that's almost a call in itself. Like, there's so much there about responsibility and offending people and minimizing us based on how we think they're going to react or respond.
Yeah, I found out that I have an ability that wherever I show up, I speed up processes, so that people open up faster, or they come really quick to the core of the thing. Sometimes it gets very emotional, and many times it also happens that they blame me for that, and it as I was so wrong and it's my fault. And now, since I realized that I'm in service, it's really fun to do that.
Cool. Yeah, what capacities do you have that you haven't even acknowledged, even beyond what you have acknowledged?
Yeah, thank you. Great sharing with you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Anything else that people wanted to talk about related to this?
We have about 5 minutes left.
Yeah.
Anyone who's like on the phone or not viewable, as I said, invisible, not visible. Do you guys have any questions?
O también si tienen preguntas en español, lo podemos contestar y traducir. Lo mencionamos al principio, pero si llegaron tarde, quise mencionarlo otra vez, por si acaso. Just in case you had any questions in Spanish, we can address that as well.
Hola.
Gonna be Brazil.
Hola.
Oh,
Hola, I have a question for you.
cool.
1, where's my cerveza? And 2, thank you so much for creating this. I'm loving this. Thank you for your patience while I train. Thank you. I have a question. How does one dissipate the energies of people who compete with other people's bodies? When they look at a body, instead of saying, oh, wow, I would like to have that. I mean, I look at men's bodies, I look at women's bodies, I love bodies. And I'll just say, you know what, that's really an amazing form. I mean, I love creating. I'm an artist. And more, I'm an infinite being. I check myself there. But what is it when people look at someone and then they compete with their body?
So would you be willing to use that energy to your advantage?
How would I do that? How do I choose that?
Uh-oh.
No, let's play this game. Can we play a game?
Okay.
I love games. Yay!
I do this in foundation classes, and what I'm going to have you guys do is you're going to judge me silently, okay? And I'm going to present in one of two positions. So in one of the times, I'm going to be totally spacious and interesting point of view about any judgment. In the other position, I'm going to resist the judgment, okay?
Okay.
So in one position, I'm going to think judgment is wrong, you shouldn't be judging me, I don't like your judgment, you're full of crap, whatever it is. In the other position, I'm going to have no point of view about it, okay? So I'm not going to tell you which experience is which. I'm going to have you judge me for a minute once, probably not even a minute, like 30 seconds, and then we're going to stop, and then we'll do it again. Okay, is that pretty clear for everyone?
Maybe 10 to 15 seconds, Kathy. We're humanoids.
Right, so
I'm like 3 seconds.
All right. Okay. So, and if you have any questions, ask them now, because I've had people we've done the whole exercise, and then someone's been like, "What were we supposed to do?" And I was like, "Okay, cool." So no questions. You're just gonna judge me silently. All right, and it could be good, it could be bad. Judgment is judgment, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
All right, and go.
I'm having a hard time judging you.
Cool. Okay. All right, we're gonna do this one more time. Ready? Go.
Felicia, why are you so mean?
Okay. All right. So was it different between the two times?
The second time there was like a density, like dense and kind of mean. I'm not sure what it was. Is it true?
It was.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
It was the energy of resistance, the energy of you shouldn't have whatever's going on with you, whatever judgments you have, you shouldn't have that. Okay, the first time there was none of that. It was like, whatever is.
Okay.
The story in your head is just a story. It's okay. It's not bad to have.
That's amazing.
It's just
So which way of being would create greater possibilities for you in the world?
Yes, I'm choosing number one.
Door number one.
Door number one, please. Does it come with a yacht? Let's go, girls. Next Zoom call is aboard the Zoom yacht.
All right.
Oh,
so
that's amazing.
And as the recipient of the judgment, it takes so much less effort to have door number one.
Okay.
So much less effort. And,
it is what it is.
And people find it harder to judge you when you're just so spacious. Like, what is there to push against? What is there to bounce judgment off of?
Nothing.
True.
Space. It's awesome.
That's amazing.
The natural capacity all of us have. Can you have door number one with yourself? How do you do that, Andrea? That is asking.
Whoa. Whoa, you just said something that would, how much space can I have with myself?
Yeah. Where it's like, cool. Well, and in the foundation, I also do this exercise where we're judging ourselves. Like, I ask people to choose a part of their body.
I am. My legs.
Like, not the biggest, wait. Not the biggest thing that you judge, but like, for me, I usually pick my nails. Like, my nails are not my favorite thing. And so I'll pick my nails to judge. And then, so we pick something that's not the biggest thing you judge. And then you come to a space of allowance of the judgment. So you don't resist the judgment. You're like, okay, cool, I'm judging. And you don't make it a big deal, because usually what we do is we're judging and then we make it wrong and bad, and I shouldn't be judging myself and this and that and the other thing. Instead, consciousness includes everything,
including judgment.
including judgment. Consciousness does not judge judgment.
Consciousness does not judge. Consciousness does not judge judgment. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what if you could be okay with the judgment you have about yourself? And what if that actually expands your allowance for yourself? I see like all of these faces like, what the hell?
You just blew everyone's minds.
It's like a workout.
Come to the foundation, everybody.
Yay!
We play with this for 4 days. It's amazing.
And for me, I really like to make it about exercises so that you can go home
and practice.
It's not just about reading the manual. And I mean, you can read the manual at home on the toilet.
Boring. Yeah, you don't want to do that in class.
So make it about experiences so that when you go home, you are different and have had a different sort of experience.
And you're on the ball.
Weave it into your life. Yeah, totally. So, hi, everybody. Now we see more people. I think a lot of people still thought it was starting at this.
And Kathy, I met you just once for one session that changed so amazingly much. Really meant your work and what you're going to do. And whenever I will have the next chance to come to foundation with you, I will do that.
Thank you. Thank you, Sylvia. Someone invited me to facilitate in Austria next year. So what would it take?
Hey, do you want to come to Canada?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is what we have in common with travel birds. We love to travel.
Yes,
True
it's
story.
awesome.
True story.
Ah.
Anything else?
Can I see your delts? Can you do me a little flex? Please? Yes! I knew it. They were hiding. I just wanted to say hi.
All right, guys. Anything else? I know a bunch of you just hopped on, and I'm so sorry that we're actually at the end of our time together. But if you have questions, like, we could stay around. Siris, do you have a couple more minutes?
I do.
You stick around for any additional questions. So, anyone who just popped on, do you have questions? We covered a lot, and it was actually like so amazing. And you could see some faces like, what? Mind blowing.
Yeah, we had to change the call to an hour earlier. So if you're jumping in right now, that's why. And we tried to let you know in all the different ways we could by email, on Facebook, that it was changing. But y'all are all really busy. We're really busy, so we get it. But there'll be a replay. Everyone that registered will get the replay as well.
True. Yes?
Hi, it's Ruth.
Oh, hi, Ruth.
Hi, how are you both? How is every? Hi, I love to see you. Huh?
I love your Facebook posts inviting
Thank you
people.
very much. I love yours. How much better does it get?
Yes, indeed.
So, what energy, space, and consciousness can my body and I be to be the receiving and knowing of what you've all discussed, and for all eternity, and what else is possible? So, if we were to use what you've just been speaking about as a platform, what else do you know, Kathy and Siris? Because I'm going to hear the rest of it when I get the replay.
Yeah, when you're the spaciousness of you, competition doesn't matter. It can't touch you because you're like, why bother? You're the ocean, and competition is like a little squiggly thread within the ocean.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's no use putting your attention on it.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And did you talk about, sorry, I know Siris, let you go, you talk to, you share
Go ahead, sweetheart, go ahead.
Now, well, I would love to hear what you have to say too. So, what I was just aware of was, did you talk about the awareness of everybody else's judgments?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and that can be in any area of your life, from dating to family to, you know, coworkers in the work life. What we're talked about in business with facilitating classes and any other type of business. Did you have a specific scenario though?
Okay, so I have plenty, but when you when you just were speaking, I became aware of the possibility of what's beyond all of that.
Yeah.
So would you like to speak to that? What's possible when that's...
What do you know
So
about
I
what's
was wondering
possible for you beyond all of that?
I was aware of the generative energy of, I suppose it's like, I don't know if you call it leapfrogging or outcreation, like what, like everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. The crazy shit that competition pretends to be, you know.
What if every energy could be nurturing for you?
Yeah.
What could you create then?
Yeah, that's cool. So it's just, so this must be something I'm aware of, that in somebody's reality and that's popping up in mine, but it's always the reluctance to choose you, making yourself smaller to fit into other people's reality.
We talked about that too.
I know. I am sure you talked about everything. I'm sorry I missed it.
Well, it sounds like you didn't miss all of it. You're just summarizing it for us. Like, it sounds like you received the whole call.
How much do you already know about what we talked about? Having to
listen. Tips on competition with kids is something tips on competition from your kids. One of mine tries to up me all the time. Most of the time I'm okay. If there are a few times I catch myself buying into it. Okay. Kathy spoke about this in her Facebook Live call a little bit today, because her children will often be around her when she's working and running the different businesses that she plays with. And I work with kids constantly. So I have a lot about of interesting points of views and examples on that. What was the specific, is there a specific situation with the competition with your kids? Because that can show up in a lot of different ways, be it competing for your time, your attention. If it can be competing with you directly, as in like they want to be racing with you, or so which out of the many ways, how to react to them? Yes, time and attention. Okay, great.
Cool.
Kathy, you want to start off on that one?
Yes. You know, I get this a lot. In fact, when I have to go on a phone call or a Zoominar or whatever it is, you know, a lot of times they're like, oh, bye. They're like, I want your attention, you know, and so what if we didn't zoom our attention into the activity at hand, but also include them in our energy? So we're actually being for them whatever energy they require while whatever activity is going on. So if I'm on a call, I don't have to cut off my energy toward them. I could give them massive amounts of energy while I'm on the call. And sometimes it really is, you know, what's going to work for all of us. So right now, for example, my son is on my phone and he's really happy and I'm really happy. You know, it's like, what's going to work for us now to create greater possibilities for both of us or all of us.
Yeah, and it's going to be different every time. So really asking that question and being that question in each moment, and not thinking like, oh, well, this worked last time, so that's what I'm going to do this time. That's a lot of times what, as a therapist, we would do that. Like, oh, what's worked before? And then we would create a lot of form and structure around it. We're like, oh, well, this strategy should work again because it worked last week with a student or something like that. Not necessarily. We're constantly changing and evolving. And so really willing to follow the energy and follow your awareness is really going to be key with that. And you know, Kathy's had her sons be on calls. Like all of a sudden they want her cuddles. And since she has no point of view and she's totally fine receiving the judgment of the people on the calls about, oh, how is it that you're going to have your kid on the call while you're supposed to be professional right now, Kathy? Like, what are you doing? Like having your kid in your lap while you're facilitating a class. Each time her children, she's chosen that, at least from my interesting point of view, it's been such a contribution for them because these kids will shift the energy so quickly. And they add in their own awarenesses that even if when they're not saying anything, that we're getting their awareness and it's contributing to the calls as well. So I would suggest and invite you to be in the question, like we've been talking about throughout this whole, you know, a little bit more than an hour now. And on top of that, for you to actually be willing to receive from your kids as much as you're willing to give to them.
Ooh, true story. Yeah. Yeah. And ask your kids to contribute to you.
Yeah.
Ask your kids to energetically contribute. Ask them to contribute to your money flows. You know, I took my kids to Costa Rica to the 7-day, and they constantly talk about like, I'd love to go back there, you know? And so I'm like, okay, generate the money. We'll go. And they don't have to logically know how, but they're energetically contributing to my life, my living, my business, and my future because I've asked. And so my question is, what questions are you asking? And how can you include your kids in the creation of the future that you truly desire rather than resist them? Because for a long time I want to travel, but I have kids. And now I travel and I have kids. My kids and I were just in London and they had a fabulous time. And I had an amazing foundation. So what if we didn't make it an either or, but like Ruth mentions here, and yes, and expanding the possibilities for all of us. And I realized now I have to go get my hair cut. So I posted a link in there if you want to come play with us at the beach in Hilton Head or Portland, Maine or Hawaii or wherever, Chicago this coming week. And I know Siris has some classes too. And I have something super fun that starts tomorrow night, and that is 3 days of interesting point of view. And it's only $20. So there are 2 calls and a couple of Facebook Lives. And the reason we're doing this is actually because I said, I need this. I'm at my mom's house and she's depressed and I need to just like have the space of interesting point of view around this. And so I messaged my friend Alan and I said, you want to do this? And he said, yes. So 3 days of interesting point of view to clear out your head. And so I'll put that in the links here too.
And then Kathy is going to be in Hilton Head. Sulma and I are hosting her in Hilton Head, South Carolina, right by the beach, a couple of steps from the beach. I'm actually in the beach house right now. It's gorgeous. I'll give you guys a peek at it in a moment. But she's going to be facilitating her Radical Abundance specialty class. Not that any of us want abundance. And that's not at all a tool to outcreate competition. And then Kathy, right before that foundation class that she's going to be facilitating here, it will be co-facilitating a bars class with me. So the 2 of us will have a bars, we'll have an intro to radical abundance, we'll have the foundation, we'll have a 1-day radical abundance class, a big party at the beach and beyond. There's really close to Savannah, Georgia, where Sulma and I live. So something to consider. And then Sulma and I are facilitating in a couple hours, actually, maybe 6 hours. We're going to be having a free Zoominar, if you'd like to have another free Zoominar today, all about Creando un Mejor Puerto Rico. So it's and saliendo del blah. So it's actually getting out of the blah of creation. So a lot of us don't really know what to choose and what to have, and we are looking at it from what's going on in Puerto Rico, but it can go there and beyond that, because there's a lot of us that have this sense of what we'd like to choose and create, and then we don't know what the next step is, how to even feel about it, how to even go about actualizing that. So Sulma is going to pop that link into the chat for you.
Okay.
And I'm making the radical abundance classes. Let's go ahead and just make those live streamable as well. So that way you can be in London or wherever you are and play with us and ask your questions. So
Kathy, another thing that I wanted to add to the class in Hilton Head, I don't know if people have taken a class in a pool. So if you step 2 steps out of that patio, the pool is already open. We can heat it. He can heat it up. It's not necessary. And the sauna as well.
There it is.
Open there.
You can see the pool.
Can I facilitate the class from the pool?
If you don't at least once, I will be really mad.
So that's one of the things I wanted to make sure that people know now, because it wasn't open before. So now it's open. So you know, I don't know, during lunchtime. I don't know how open are you to walk up from the dining room. It's very spacious space. So
Yay. And there's the beach. That's how far we are from the beach. You see the water?
That's amazing.
So yeah. So
Thank you for inviting me there. I'm so excited to come in 2 weeks.
So any other questions? We have lots of resources. We're going to send out the replay within the next 24 hours with some other links and everything. Again, thank you for your flexibility and patience with the change in schedule. Thank you for your questions, for your examples, and just you being you in the world, and you being willing to have a different possibility way beyond everyone's interesting point of view about competition, including your own.
Thank you all. And if you have extra questions, post in Facebook in that event page, and we can address those too.
Just one. I didn't get where you are, Siris, where this wonderful, amazing place is.
This is in Hilton Head, South Carolina in the United States. Mm-hmm. And we'll be here from July 20th through the 25th.
Okay. Yeah, I'm busy in that days, but from August I have time.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
There's many other options. What else is possible?
What else is possible? Right. Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Aloha, everybody.
Hello.
Bye. Aloha.
Bye.
Bye-bye.